All right, y'all. We are live on this. It's a little bit cloudy, guys. It's a little gloomy, but it is a Tuesday morning. Blessings to everybody in the name of Jesus the Messiah. I pray everyone listening to my voice right now is very blessed in many ways. Guys, as usual, if we can get 1,250 likes during the stream, I'll be giving away 0.025 Bitcoin, which will probably be worth about $10 by the end of the stream. Also, guys, we have two very special guests today, and I'm very excited to have them on the channel. Sean and Krisha from Mango Macro and Crypto. These guys are expert swing traders on high-term time frames. They're very good at what they do, and I'm excited to bring them on for y'all to hear what they have to say about how to have a stress-free trading style during these stressful and scary bear markets. So we'll be live momentarily, y'all. Stay tuned.
Hello, I would like to get a Big Mac meal.
All right, y'all. We are live on this beautiful Tuesday morning, and I'm very excited to be bringing on two very special guests. Sean and Krisha, are you guys here right now? Can you hear my voice?
I can hear your voice, Jason, and I can see Carl from the moon on the intro as well.
You can see Carl from the moon.
I can see Carl.
Yeah, he reached out to me and he said, hey, I could sponsor you. Let's work out a deal. I'll drop a word for you guys too, actually. If you
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. That would be awesome.
How's it going, everyone?
I don't hear anyone answering. I think they're doing good though. So everyone, if anybody doesn't know who this is Sean and Krisha from Mango Macro and Crypto. And I came across their channel in 2020. I'll never forget the day. I think it was November 30th, 2020.
Wow.
Probably about must have been early in the morning, like 9 a.m. my time, when XRP was just got a crazy green candle out of nowhere. And I was scrolling through the YouTubes to try and find some answers. And what do you know? I came across these two, and they were giving me all the answers. Okay, and in all seriousness, y'all, in all seriousness, Sean and Krisha, they're very, very good traders. They're professional traders, and they have a very different style than myself because they focus on the higher term time frames. Make sure to go check out their channel if you have not. Mango, Crypto, and Macro. And so, how are you guys doing today? Thanks for being on the channel.
Man, doing fantastic. Just a bit under the weather today, but in regards to the markets have been really, this is the time, right? This is where Mango really thrives. It's the bear markets where like the golden nuggets all really count at the end of the day. So like the bull markets, you really don't have to do much, just hold in your position and let it ride. But these markets, you really get to trade and showcase your skill and showcase your ability, man, because there's so many people out there who want to learn, but they need the examples to be able to see why it works. So this is Jason. First off, man, thank you so much for having us here. It's an honor to be having a discussion with you. He's a celebrity, man.
Yeah.
Jason Casper.
With the tractor and the whole call from the moon, the intro and everything. It's pretty crazy. Thank you so much for having us. But yeah, the bear market is where, that conviction really comes through. This is where people are tested. And it's going to be good to go through this.
Yeah, so I really just want to talk to you guys and ask about your trading style because, Sean, you had mentioned to me that both of you used to be scalpers and day traders, but now when I watch your content and I'm in your Discord as well, you guys are looking at like the weekly time frame, the monthly time frame, and you're trading these time frames, and this is what you do full time, and it's basically giving you a very stress-free life where you can be a professional trader and also just live that dream lifestyle, on the beach all day with a mojito in the hand. So would you explain your journey to me? First of all, how did you get into trading? And then how did you transition from a scalper, stressed out all the time, gray hair, no hair, to now having beautiful hair and a very stress-free lifestyle trading these big time frames?
That's actually such a good question. So actually, believe it or not, Mango started off through the fundamental perspective of blockchain because Mango research was born out of me actually doing my PhD on blockchain. And one thing led to another. And that's how I was like, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing in terms of research. And that's how Krisha and I left the corporate world, et cetera, and started our own thing with Mango. And Krisha was actually the one who got me into trading because I was more fixated because of my background in computer science, et cetera, I was more comfortable with the fundamentals. But man, you get wrecked trading the fundamentals. That's what people don't realize. There's so much going on, so many coins, so many assets. It's really hard to keep up. And she started noticing all of these. She's the first one to actually highlight the moving averages working so well on all of these charts. I remember she traded Sia coin back in the day, 2017, 2016, so well, just based on moving averages. And I was here reading white papers and stuff, doing all of this, spending all of this time. And she was just trading price action and moving averages. I'm like, man, there's something here. People may say fundamentals are the way to go, but you need an entire research team to be able to keep up, especially now, man, with the new markets. There are like thousands and thousands and thousands of coins. TA just seemed the way to go in terms of being efficient with catching the big moves. Because she was doing it. She caught BNB at $1, man. And I was just like sitting on my ass here reading. I was writing explanatory posts on Ethereum, Casper, and sharding and everything. I was doing all of this complex stuff, and she was making money. I'm like, this is not sustainable. I want to do this too. But then when we started trading, the low time frames is where we all get excited, especially in the bull market, because you can make your money like that, right? But in the bear markets, man, you have to grind. And Jason, I see you do it, man. I've been keeping an eye on your Discord, man. It's so impressive. You're grinding and putting in the hard work. And that's pretty much what I was doing throughout the entire 2018 bear market. Like I was trading the ranges on and off, support and resistance. But the grind was eventually like beginning to wear me down, right? And Kush and I would get into fights.
Yeah.
We would get into a lot of fights over our trades because initially we were sharing our accounts.
Yeah, we were sharing our accounts at the time, and then so what happened, it was like an organic thing where we found that we were very, very different traders. And so imagine two very different traders trading the same freaking account.
Yeah.
Like, you're bound to get into a freaking fight. You're like, why did you get in that position?
Because
Like, what did you
personality
see
matters so much, right, when pertaining to trades. Like, if I'm putting on a certain trade, it may not fit her personality at all, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Which is why copy trading doesn't really work, and a lot of people find that out the hard way. So we were going through all of this, like all of these emotions on a daily freaking basis, and I realized that, man, I grinded my way all the way up to the corporate ladder, from like janitor to like a good position, and I hated my life back then, right? I hated my life as a corporate grunt. And I realized that now I'm living the same life in front of the screen because I'm like grinding every day. And that's not what I quit the 9 to 5 for, to end up doing 9 to 9 on the charts.
Yeah.
Right. They say, the traders, they quit the 9 to 5 for the 24/7.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Well put.
Dude, man, it was beginning to get to me because I was not getting sleep. We were waking up at like 4 a.m. in the night to manage positions, getting frantic. And it got to a point where I had to really step back and start like figuring out another way. So I kept my style though. Like, because I needed to make money, right? Because we pretty much were relying on trading for our income to survive on a daily basis. So I kept my style, but I kept reading. I was reading a lot of history books, etc. And I came across a few traders back in the 1970s, commodity traders. You guys might be familiar with some of them. Richard Dennis was one of the guys who influenced me the most. And their trading style really, really resonated with me because I was already using the Ichimoku setup. And I'm just going to quickly show you guys my chart. Maybe this is it. Oh, no, that's not it. Not that. No. Okay, yeah, here you go. So yeah, this is essentially just the Ichimoku is an all-in-one indicator available for free for everyone, by the way. Okay, you guys have all of you guys have access to this. And I was already using the Ichimoku on the lower time frames. Okay, and I realized that, man, a lot of what these guys are saying makes sense. And it rhymed with what even Jesse Livermore, one of the greatest traders ever to have lived in the 1900s, early 1900s, he said that most of his money was made sitting, not actively trading, but just sitting on his butt and finding a good position and then catching the big win.
Yeah.
Catching the big win. But I hadn't really felt the big win yet to have confidence in the trade, right? And I was grinding throughout this. I'm going to zoom into the charts for you guys. I was grinding throughout the 2018 market, these trends all the way to the 10K and back down, up and down, up and down. And I was waiting for the big trade to actually build that confidence in the long-term trading. And that's where I caught for me, this was my life-changing trade, right? And Krisha caught a trade on Ethereum over here.
Yes.
For me, it was Bitcoin. And we got the dump. Okay, we got the dump. It changed our accounts completely. And then we got the move to the upside as well. So the two big wins back to back out of luck, right? Catching two big wins in such a short time was pure luck. But it allowed me to really look back at these trades and realize, damn, these trades have accounted for a bulk of my life-changing gains, right? And I started making mistakes while trying to catch both trades, Jason, the low time frames and the big time frame trades, where I started making mistakes and missing out on the big time frame trades, right? So I was like, man, it's just not my play style to try and catch both sides, the lower time frames and the big time frames. I need to really specialize in the big trades if I want to go for the big, huge win while keeping my mind clear. Because this win on the 6K breakdown to 3K, and then from 3K all the way up to like 13K, we didn't like get out at 13K, we got out more at around 10-ish K. But those wins were like the easiest trades of my life, man. But it took some discipline to put them on, but they were the easiest trades of my life and the most influential changes to my account. And all the other trades just applied more stress to me.
Yeah.
We were fighting on those other trades as well. And it wasn't amounting to much. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to focus on this. So Kusha, what's your story? I have been going on.
Well, it started with getting wrecked. I think everyone's trading journey always starts with getting freaking wrecked somewhere. And it's when you get wrecked, you gotta come to terms with your personality. And I feel like those who last in this game, they're the ones who really sort of try to figure out the algorithm almost behind this whole trading journey. And it's about first getting wrecked, and then you're sort of forced to come to terms with yourself.
Yeah.
And that's something that you spoke about yesterday, Jason, in terms of it really sort of highlights all your weaknesses. Trading highlights all those weaknesses, and you gotta, if you want to make money, if you want to be successful, and it really hurts your ego when you do sort of lose, right? To be successful, you have to come to terms with your personality and what kind of trader you want to be. Because imagine if Sean is a trend trader and he tries to scalp, right? That's, you're not going to be happy doing that. And if you want longevity in this world of trading, you first got to trade your personality.
Yeah, that's so well
right?
said.
So, and that's why Sean and I never got along with trading, because he used to like these trend trades, and I was more about catching the swing trades on these massive sort of ranges. So that's where we sort of clashed. And now he spoke about trying to, well, trend trade as well as catching the swing trades. And what happens there is that you form these biases, right? Suddenly a swing trading interferes with your trend trades. You're like, I may be wrong on this. So there's this too much of a clash. So it's about like picking one, understanding, okay, this is my personality, and sticking with it. So yeah, I think that was my journey was getting wrecked.
Yeah.
Coming to terms with, okay, what kind of trader I want to become. Telling Sean that, okay, dude, this is not working out. We got to split on the accounts. And then really sort of getting into the grind and really trading your style.
Yeah. And together we kind of really form a merciless combo. Like it's powerful because Krisha can catch these trades that I wouldn't otherwise catch, but it adds to our family wealth, right? And at the flip side, I'm able to catch these bigger trades that she would miss otherwise, because she would take profits a lot earlier. I'm the kind of guy, man, who I'm okay letting my profits freaking go. I'm always hunting for the big win. I'm always hunting for the big win, because I've felt so much pain by taking profits way too early on my entire trade, and then the trade goes not 10x, man, but 20x more. Crypto does that. That's the big opportunity in crypto. But Jason, can I tell you guys about a mistake I made that really shaped my strategy? Like, we talked about big wins over here, and I don't think that's fair to the audience. I really want to talk about an example of a mistake.
Yeah, for sure, man. Just so everyone knows in the chat, guys, so this is Sean and Krisha from Mango Macro and Crypto, and the reason I have them on the channel today is because they are very good at what they do, and they're basically swing traders trading very high time frames. And I know a lot of people that follow me, a lot of people just don't have time to be a day trader. They don't have the lifestyle to be a day trader if they have a job, or they're constrained by their responsibilities in life. And so the way they trade provides them a lot of freedom to basically just enjoy life, very stress-free, but also being able to trade full-time and support themselves full-time based on trading these markets. And so go check them out, guys. Mango, Macro, and Crypto. I'm going to go ahead and pin a comment in here in the chat. And also, guys, let's see, can we get 1,250 likes? Call your mom, call your aunt and your uncle. Tell them to come like the video, guys, because I have all this Bitcoin I'm trying to give away. It's burning a hole in my pocket, and to make it even worse, as time goes on, it's becoming less and less valuable. So I'm trying to get rid of it here, guys. Make sure to FOMO into that like button, because unlike Bitcoin, the Jason Casper like button is about to hit a new all-time high.
Yes. Yeah, smash the likes, guys. Smash the likes. Yeah, so Jason, I was watching a couple of your videos over the past few days, and I was struck again by how the low time frame trades that you take to line up so perfectly with these higher time frame levels, right? And even on our stream too, the other day you were talking about the Boyan level, right? And how it was a really good trade for you guys, and it lined up perfectly with the weekly 200 exponential moving average. And how you guys in the lower time frames will take those bounces of the trades, which is really, really good for scalp trades. And I really recommend that for anyone who's looking to grow their account aggressively. But if you're like someone who has a big family and has a very time-consuming job, you don't have the time to manage the trade even after you get into the trade. Let's say you get the perfect entry, like the aggression you need and the focus you need to be able to manage the trade and take your profits, adjust your stop losses on lower time frames. Not everybody has that, right? So this is where like our style really allows people to make a decision once a week or maximum twice a week, depending on what time frame you're trading, right? So over here on the weekly, for the longest time, okay, we were looking at this weekly 200 exponential moving average, and we were like, guys, as simple as this. It's as simple as this. We're not oracles. We're not genius forecasters. It's if this, then that. If we close underneath the weekly 200 exponential, we're moving down to the weekly 200. And these are the same levels you were looking at, Jason, on the lower time frames. But what happens over here is that the charts are drawing it out for you. The ichimoku is drawing out the levels for you. The higher time frames are. You just need to wake up on your Monday morning, because this happened on Monday morning, right? We close underneath. Yeah. Damn, we close underneath, guys. I sent out a chart to the Mango community, and I'm like, this is not looking good. We are coming down to the weekly 200. We've been talking about this for weeks and weeks and weeks. If this, then that, right? So we pre-decide way ahead of time mentally that if we lose this level, we are coming back down here, and we get ready for it. Now, you don't need to take the shot, right? But what you could do is at least get out of your current spot position. Right? That's what you could do. And that alone is so powerful. We have saved so much by just not being in position. People don't understand that, right, Kisha?
Yeah, and I think, and I'm sure it's the same thing for you, right? It's always about that capital preservation, right? If you want to last in this game, it's about preserving your capital and taking those sure bets. And now, of course, our trading styles are different, but ultimately, these little sort of foundations of trading, I think, apply across the board in terms of whether you're a scalp trader, whether you're a swing trader, or a trend trader, right? So that's really helped us in terms of sort of blowing it up on the high level, basically your weeklies, right? Your 4 days even perhaps, and taking those sure bets, right? And that's something that you hit on in that this really helps people who have that 9 to 5 life to still sort of trade and have like a good probability win if they choose to do so.
Yeah. Now, I do have some questions for you, because wow, Bitcoin just totally pumped right up into a local golden pocket right here. I got distracted. Okay, so my question for you guys is the following. So let's say that like somebody wants to trade this way. I'm assuming that you have to have a decent amount of capital in order to trade in this style and do it well. Would I be correct in assuming that? Because you have to be using like super low leverage. And what does it look like? Like, what do you think somebody has to do in order to get into the position where they can be trading on the weekly time frame and maybe only taking like 1 or 2 trades a month and being able to actually support themselves? Because one of the benefits of, at least for me, of looking at the smaller time frames is that I can like leverage a very small amount of capital, and the profit on that can be a juicy amount, as opposed to, you know, if somebody only has a few $1,000s to trade with. Because that's one of the things that a lot of people have an issue with the swing trading.
That is such a good question. I really want to take some time to answer this, dude. Okay, this is not going to be the answer most people want to hear. And I'm just going to lay it out there. This is not going to be the answer most people want to hear. I'm going to say this. You can't have it all. You just cannot have it all. This entire trading strategy first relies on you holding on to your trades to capitalize on profits, right? Because when you hold on to a trend trades, guys, sometimes I hold on to my trades for months at a time, man. Months. So I'm not taking profits. I can't really use that to finance myself, right? If I'm relying on that money to finance my day-to-day costs, well, you're going to be taking profits all the time. This is more so for people who already have that job and are looking to take advantage of one of the biggest freaking opportunities of our lifetime. And let me tell you a story. I've had community members ask me the same question when Bitcoin was at $10,000, and they're like, man, if I take these positions, they're going to be so small. I want to take high leverage trades, Sean. Your rules that you make me follow don't allow me to take all these massive positions. And I don't think I'll grow fast enough. And I told him, dude, you're saying that now. And I felt the same thing back in the day when Bitcoin was sitting only at around 3K, 6K, etc. But Bitcoin pumped from 3K and now it's sitting all the way around $10,500. That's already around a 3x or more. Okay. And I told him that I'm like, you need to accumulate over the long period and grow your account with what crypto allows you to do. Now, right, I spoke to him a while ago and I'm like, dude, remember the conversation we had? Imagine if you followed it and just put on the trade and start taking high leverage positions at 10K. Because we got super excited, man, on the monthly. I'm going to pull up my monthly Ichimoku here, guys. And when did we get excited, Mango? You guys can go back to our videos and you guys can see our excitement. I was losing my mind. I'm like, guys, we did it. We closed above the monthly Kijun. This is it. This is the big buy. And we went down to the monthly Kijun at 9,800, 9,900-ish. I was super excited. I put on a leverage trade. Was it like 50x leverage or something? No, dude, I go maximum 5x leverage, right? Because I'm allowing the trade to move 20% on me if it has to, right? But in turn, what I catch is this massive win, a 500%, a 600%. On Solana, we caught the huge trade from around $30, dude, all the way up to 210. We catch those wins by looking at the higher time frame. And if you guys just, dude, you talked about instant gratification being a big problem with traders on my stream yesterday. This is the same thing, right? You cannot have instant gratification if you're looking for the higher time frame trades. You got to build it over long term. I started my account, dude, with nothing. Anyone who's known Mango and has known me since back in the BMC days, 2017, 2018, I was one of the poorest dudes in the community. You can ask them, right? I've been very open, man. I had nothing. I came into this world with nothing. But the account builds, dude. It builds in a massive way. Crypto is that for us. All us millennials, all of us, and Gen Xers too, who have been hunting for the big wave that the boomers caught, this is it. We don't want to miss it by getting wicked out of a position, stopped out of a position while at work or busy taking your kids to school, etc. You don't want to miss this, man. So yeah, apologies for the passion thingy, but patience, and just, you can't have everything.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate the passion that you guys have. And yeah, that's pretty cool that you have that mindset and everything going into this. It's definitely something that I feel like a lot of people kind of are like, well, wait a second, like, you know, I don't have much money to start with. How am I going to trade full time? But it's not about being a full time trader. It's about, look, I have a life, I have another source of income, and you're growing this account over time. And almost you're in it for the long game. Like, you know, eventually this account will be able to carry you, but, you know, you're doing it in a way that's more chill, more relaxed, less stress. Because I can't tell you how many times I have people come to me and say, hey, Jason, you know, I'm quitting my job. I have 50K. You know, I just took your course and I'm going to start trading full time. And it's like, well, you know what? That's honestly a horrible idea, because you're definitely going to lose all that money just based on the pressure that you put on yourself to now support yourself. But this is much different. And so when you're actually managing your trades, because you had mentioned to me that you guys are trading, you're not trading like crypto markets the way, like, you're not on ByBit, you're in more traditional markets. So what does that look like to you on a day-to-day basis? Because, you know, it took me a while. You know, I remember watching your guys' videos where, you know, and you were looking at the weekly time frame and you were like explaining to yourself, I guess people were asking, why do you only look at such high time frames? And you're like, these are literally the time frames that we trade. So, like, how does this look on a day-to-day basis? Like, how are you managing these positions? How are you taking out profits? You know, what even gets you into a trade when you're trading on the weekly time frame? Because for me, like, the weekly time frame will say it's about time to start looking for a good trade, but it's never going to tell me enter now. I guess that was a loaded, manifold question.
Actually, that the weekly and the monthly, man, will literally tell you exactly that. It'll tell you enter now. It'll tell you exit now. So, Kusha, do you have an example?
Yeah. I think to answer your question, I think what this looks like is that this requires a lot of patience. And that drives back to the point that Sean mentioned earlier, right? We try to embody some of the traders that we sort of look up to, and I think one of the ones that I really really look up to, who's Jesse Livermore. Now he was a technical trader back in the day, and the thing is that, and it's about that waiting, and that's something that he had mentioned, is that half of this is a waiting game, right? And trend trading is just that. You wait. It's that patience that's going to catch you that big win, that conviction trade that you need to get into. And we see, like, for instance, I think a good example of this would be something that Sean basically mentioned, which was the 200 exponential moving average, which actually lined up with your levels, Jason. And it's about understanding that, okay, these higher time frame levels, and this is an observation that we have made over the years of just observing these charts and trading this, and it's the fact that these higher time frames are respected even on those lower time frames, even on the time frames that you trade. Perhaps, believe it or not, so many times it actually cascades on over to the 1 hour time frame. It is that crazy, right? So you see these levels.
Yeah, I believe that because
that will give you a conviction trade. And it's that patience, the wait. And it's tough. It's not easy by any means. It's tough to just wait. Imagine just staring at price tick up. You're like, shit, that's a trade I could have taken. You know, I could have even taken it up to that range, a support and resistance. But you're waiting on that conviction play. And this is why even trend traders, this is one mantra almost. We're not into catching the bottoms or the tops. We're into catching the meat of the entire move, right? So this is a patience game, and that's what our day looks like. A whole lot of freaking patience, waiting and looking and staring at the chart until you find that play. And that's how I even hit the Luna trade.
Yeah, Kusha caught a massive shot on Luna. Now, did she know it was going to go down to freaking zero?
No,
she didn't.
No. That was
Kusha, I want you to talk about Luna trade in a sec, but Jason was about to, you mentioned how the trades line up, right? The levels line up at low time frames. So Jason, in one of your videos, I was going back to one of your videos, and you were trading the $33,000 level, right? And you can see, guys, how it lines up perfectly with the bottom of the weekly cloud here. And we were trading that same level. We traded it in both directions, long and short, right? Over here at Mango, our videos are more like us saying the same thing over and over and over again for weeks and weeks until the trade plays out. So just to give you guys a quick example, we were trading this region here where we said, hey guys, the big play, it's if this then that. The big play is Bitcoin going up and testing the cross of the Tenkan Kijun on the weekly. So it's going to take weeks, guys. It's going to take weeks. Once we reach there, if this then that. Do the bulls, because this gives us a position, gives us an idea where the bulls and the bears are positioning themselves. Do the bulls defend this and reclaim this level, or do the bears reject it and be pushed down? That was our big thesis for months. Big thesis for months. And look how it played out, Jason. You can go back to our videos and you'll see us regurgitating the same thing over and over again. But the hardest part is patience. As soon as the bears rejected that level and the bulls failed to reclaim that bearish TK cross, we've had literally only red weeks. And this you can backtest historically across all charts, different time frames, etc., etc. This bearish TK cross, once you get it and you break back into the cloud, you go back to the bottom of the cloud. Once you lose the bottom of the cloud, man. So here was the other big trade, man. You asked, how do you decide on the weekly, right? Well, here, we close underneath the cloud. That's your entry. That's your entry, period. You wake up in the morning, you see the weeklies close underneath, go short or exit your Bitcoin position that's long, whatever it takes, right? Depending on how you want to position. Either exit your spot position or take a short position. Two levels. You have the weekly 200 exponential, which we wicked off and bounced, right? And now you trade that range, which you were trading, man, over the past few weeks, right? Between the 32K and the 27K level. And as soon as you close underneath the weekly 200 exponential, what's your next level? The weekly 200. And dude, this happened even during COVID, right? We were trading, but it was tighter back then because of the volatility, but happened even during the 3K range. It's the same thing over and over again. You lose the cloud. This was the big trade, by the way, that I wanted to talk to you guys about, right? This was the COVID dump, right? And you lose the cloud, you retest the cloud, and boom. You could say the cloud literally predicted the COVID scenario, right? Because the markets are almost always forward pricing things. And that's why we look at the entire macro picture, man. We're always looking at the 10-year yields. We're looking at the Fed's fund rates. We're always discussing all of these concepts with Mango. We're like, guys, monthly 10 SMA has been lost and Fed is also posturing bearish. So let's get defensive now, right? So things like that. Kusha, you want to talk about Luna trade? Or Jason,
Jason,
Yeah,
pass it on over
so
to Jason.
so
Jason.
I was gonna say, it's interesting about the fact that you're looking at higher term levels on lower time frames. I mean, that literally is essentially what I do as well. So,
yeah.
I prioritize monthly time frame, weekly time frame for the levels that I can get there. But I'm definitely not executing trades on those levels. And I do have to say, for me, like when I hear you say, when we lose a level, you short, that's kind of anathema to me because, I'm of the. It's drilled into my mind that you never short because you lost a level. It's like you
Oh,
might.
really?
Yeah, because like that's in my mind when I hear that it's like I'm shorting into support. Why would I do that? But when you zoom out, you're not shorting into support. You're shorting because you've back tested the fact that when we lose the tanking on the high time frames, we're gonna go down. Like so you're not worried about getting liquidated like I would be if I was in like a leveraged trade. I'm thinking like, well, if I just short now, I'm gonna get stopped out. So I would wait then for some kind of range to form where I could then get a more accurate entry. But you guys are basically bypassing that step by saying, look, we've backtested this for so long, we know that the chances are that this trade is going to go in our favor, and so you're doing it now, on these high time frames, low leverage, and it works. So I really need to start incorporating things like that into my, I guess, swing trading, because I do swing trade, but I've never done it like on the level that you guys are doing it. So. Interesting
It
stuff.
really helps, Jason, when you're managing your entire crypto portfolio, right? So Krisha is a lot more aggressive on the lower time frame trades than I am because I'm making decisions because dude, we are all crypto. Like, we are all crypto. I'm either BTC, like 99% and some fiat that is negligible, or I am like all coins and Bitcoin, right? So we need to be sitting back and always considering, where do I need to protect our portfolio for our livelihood, right? But then Krisha can take these. She's always looking at like the mid time frames and sometimes in the low time
Yeah.
frames. That's how she caught the Luna trade. I was in position for that, but she was, right?
Yeah. So Jason, tell me, we're at a very, very special juncture in the market right now with Bitcoin sitting at what are we at? $22,000. What are your thoughts on the current price action with Bitcoin in terms of, because you have a different trading strategy and stuff?
Yeah.
Do you think we go lower from here?
I would honestly say yes. I think we do come lower from here. For me, 23K was a very important level. So, I'm here, and shout out to John Lux, by the way, for the super chat. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate you. May God bless you. If we come to a higher time frame, that $23,000 level was pretty much the last major support that we had. And right here, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the BLX chart, which is basically, Bitcoin from its inception. And, basically since November, I've been looking at this rising wedge that we have here. And the target of the rising wedge is actually coming down between 17 and 20K. And this is just the measured move of this giant wedge. And we have had on the monthly time frame and the weekly time frame the most bearish signal in the world on market Cipher B, which if I saw this, what I'm seeing on the monthly time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, I would say short and hodl that short. We saw this on the 4-hour time frame on November 11th at the all-time high. We saw this exact thing on the 4-hour time frame where we had the money flow and the momentum coming down, and we've never had a bearish divergence on the monthly time frame ever for Bitcoin like this. And so personally, I think that we're going to come down more. We lost the macro golden pocket from the Roni dump to the all-time high, and that 23K level, that was the bull flag right after we broke 20K. That was the bull flag for like 10 days. And so the fact that we're now losing that, I think we can come much lower. And I think we'll probably dip below 20K. The 786 fib is around 17K. And it would not surprise me, and we were talking about this a little bit yesterday, if we do get some kind of like capitulation, everyone's like, screw it, I'm selling everything, and we get a wick down, below 10K. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I have limit orders on spot down there, and you know, my mentality is, yeah, I'm going to be buying Bitcoin if it dumps down there, and if it never recovers, well, it was a good try because, you know, historically Bitcoin always recovers. So if Bitcoin's not going to recover from 3K, I think we have some bigger issues in the world than, you know, Bitcoin price.
Yeah. So true, man. So true.
So that's kind of my view. But right now, I'm just scalping, man. Like, that's really what I'm doing. I've been scalping all morning. I took a short, I took a long. I'm in another short now, and I'm just kind of like scalping these levels. I mean, the levels are being respected so nicely, just like on a local time frame. Like this morning, I was able to grab a short, basically just based on some bearish confirmations, then take a long from this golden pocket right here, and then I was able to take a short from. We came up to this golden pocket. I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but we came. Yeah, so we came up to this other golden pocket and got a nice little rejection from there. So it's actually, even though Bitcoin's dumping, there's like plenty of opportunity to like get into these little scalp moves and stuff, and that's kind of basically what I'm doing now. But I'm expecting lower. And what are you guys thinking? Like, where's the next? All right, price prediction, trade signal. You heard it here, guys, from Mango, Macro, and Crypto. They're about to give us the exact bottom right now. So make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe to them on YouTube. Make sure to like this video, guys, because we're about to get the exact bottom. And let's hear it, guys.
So when it comes to like actually nailing bottoms and tops, Krisha is the queen. So I'm gonna like pass it on to her. It's literally my mantra.
I have a system for this. I have a system. I don't just like, I wish I had like this magic ball where I could, you know, just ask it a question and it gives it to me. But no. Should
I switch to your chart?
I think I should have it here, but yeah, you can go ahead and switch to my chart. Yeah, that's fine.
So we have different trading view accounts too, because we fight on that.
Yeah, he hates my lines. I hate his lines. It's horrible.
Let me just pull out your chart. There you go. Okay.
It's funny. I woke up this morning and I'm just like, holy shit! Like we're past the 200 weekly moving average. And I don't know about if your viewers are seeing this in terms of why do we look at the weekly, because it's had some amazing historic significance in the past. I'm just going to clear out my chart just to drive this one through. And this is why, like, you know, we pay attention to these little sort of nuances on Bitcoin's chart. In fact, they're not even little nuances. What am I saying? They're pretty big. Yeah. I mean, they're signatures, and that's one thing about being a good, successful trader, especially if you're looking to come in and understand, okay, where, when should you really start looking for a market turn? It's about really understanding signatures. Now, this might be true for Bitcoin in terms of this specific signature that I'm about to reveal, but different charts, even if you're looking at the altcoins, they all have different signatures. And if you're just willing to do a bit of the legwork, and sort of back test certain things, you'll be surprised as to what you can find on those charts. But as far as Bitcoin is concerned, now we're looking at the 200 simple moving average because I want you guys to notice how well it's sort of held in all previous bear markets, right? Every time we've come down to the 200 simple moving average, we've sort of had that bounce. We've seen a reversal. All of those reversal formations have been formed on that weekly 200 simple. Now, once again, we have something very similar right here. This was the bear market of 2019, right? Once again, this was the COVID dump. Yeah. Like, I want you to notice this. If I just zoom into this sort of thing right here, yeah, we lost it briefly here on the week of the 9th of March. Yeah. Of course, it had to line up with my birthday, unfortunately. So you can imagine we were on the charts. We were not going out. But as soon as we managed to take it back up, we never lost it. That was that one sort of little hiccup that we had there, but still took it back and rallied right after. That's when the Fed announced QE. That's when they started printing. So once again, I'm going to zoom out of this chart. Now, if we do see that wick, now people are expecting a further sort of capitulation on Bitcoin. Based on I'm using different sort of numbers on my chart. I'm using price action in conjunction with the momentum on the chart. And if my calculations are right, and I'm looking for that next sort of momentum play, I am looking towards, let's go back on over to my Coinbase chart. And that's it right there. I'm looking at 18.7K. Now, I had posted this on the Mango Discord chat. If I just sort of zoom into this price action. Now, I like playing the ranges. Now, Sean is not too much on the ranges, not too much on the swings, but I like playing these broader swings on the daily or the 2-day time frame. And so now I at least this is my analysis on the current range that Bitcoin is in, based on the momentum on the chart. We're at 23.9K going all the way down to 18.7K. That is the range that I've identified. And if we're looking at the mid, I like sort of looking at that midpoint on Bitcoin. And I'm looking at the mid coming in at around $21,000. Now, this is something that I mentioned in the chat. I said, hey, you know what? If we start closing multiple 4-hour candles underneath that 21K region, I'm saying we're coming down to 18.7, but that is the next major level that I'm looking towards right now. If we break $21,000, I'm saying 18.7, here we come. But that is that's that key level that I'm looking at, Jason. And
Nice.
now there's historic significance on here, and I know you're looking at 17K, and I know that's also I believe that also lined up with the top. That should be the tops right around here. Yeah, this was around $16,000. But yeah, 18.7 based on the momentum and the price action on the charts, that is the number. It's pretty exact, but yeah, I like being a bit sort of exact with those numbers.
But it's an if this then that.
Yeah,
Right? Like if we don't get the 4-hour closes underneath, we're not looking for the lows, correct? Or
are you
looking for
I'm always looking at the closes. That's why I keep an eye on those midpoints.
The close of the week.
Because that helps me understand, okay, who's in control here? Is it the bulls or the bears? Because if we manage to close underneath the midpoint, coming in once again, $21,000, I'm saying that, you know what, the bears actually have the edge and we might actually take this baby down further.
Yeah.
And we have that Celsius FUD that's going on right now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like these undercurrents that's happening on the bearish end that could possibly send Bitcoin down to those levels, like even the 17K that you were talking about.
And you know what, Jason? It's so uncanny, dude. It is so uncanny how price will give you confirmation on whether or not to take the FUD seriously, right? So let's say we close underneath the weekly 200 moving average. That is telling you something, dude. That is telling you that all the big players who would have otherwise been buying over there and holding that level up just because they're interested in that level, they aren't interested because they're taking that FUD seriously. And narrative is all that matters. But understanding what narrative is important, you find on the charts, because the charts will tell you that people are taking the narrative seriously. I recommend reading this book, guys, called Narrative Economics by Robert Shiller, Nobel Prize winner, etc. And he really explains why economists in general are wrong and narratives are far more important than people understand. And I'll give you guys a quick example how everyone could have positioned themselves brilliantly for this bear market based on what Bitcoin did on the monthly. There was a guy in your chat who said something about the monthly, and I want to give him an example over here. We were talking about, there was one thing Kusha and I told our community that we wanted for Christmas. Like, we want Santa to hold Bitcoin above the 10 SMA. That's it. Right? That's all we wanted. We want Santa to hold Bitcoin. This red line over here, guys, is the 10 simple moving average on the monthly. Very simple. Okay. At the time, Jason, there was a big narrative that was beginning to formulate around the Fed beginning to tighten later into next year. Should we take that seriously, or is that a fake out? Right? Because the Fed tightens, they're taking on liquidity. And how you look at liquidity on the actual charts, man, I look at global liquidity and how it's sloshing around the world. So would the market believe that the Fed is going to tighten? My first clue was losing the monthly 10 SMA. If the bulls did not hold the monthly 10 SMA, very, very simple target we had is we're coming down to the monthly 21. And look at that, Jason. Look how perfect that is. And then we oscillate between that range. And you can literally trade that range over and over and over and over again, right? Yeah, perfect. And then when do we start getting concerned for a down move? If we lose the level underneath, which is the monthly 21 EMA, and we close ever so slightly underneath it. Someone asked me in the mangrove, Sean, is that enough? Can we say it was a defense? No, dude, no exceptions. The charts give you that confirmation of the market taking some FUD seriously, taking the negative narrative seriously. And the inflation narrative was beginning all the way back in December, when we lost the monthly 10 SMA because we were holding it for the entire bull market. Right? That's what got us excited for the bull market. We can't ignore it when we lose it, right? So that made us back off and be like, okay, cool. We don't want to short Bitcoin, right? But we're going to be looking to short altcoins. That's why Krisha got her crazy Luna short. We're looking to reposition out of all our altcoins from our personal portfolio. We went all I had was pretty much Ethereum left and some Solana, right? And oh man, I have a story on the Ethereum trade too. But yeah, this is an example of how you use the narrative along with confirmation on the monthly or weekly that hey, something serious is going on over here, right? And you stick to your guns over there. So losing the monthly time frame, bad. Losing the monthly 21 EMA, effing bad. Right? That was it.
Interesting.
So Jason, how do you? So crypto, it's all about these trends, and we see these freaking magnanimous trends, not just on Bitcoin, but more so the altcoins. Now, I know that you like taking the scalps. How do you guys how do you know when to sort of ride it? Because it's mainly just these trends that keep going off during bull markets, and these bull markets last about, say, some 2 years or something.
Yeah.
So do y'all just scalp, like just take the profit, next scalp, take the profit, next scalp?
Well, for me,
what happens on candles like this? Like when you're doing a good 42% in 1 month.
He'll find a range within the 15-minute time frame if it has to. He's really good at
you can find ranges in lower time frames, but I would say this, like personally for me, I was actually in a long from I was long back from January 27th, I think, 2021, and I held that thing all the way until I think I eventually got stopped out in February. Yeah, I got stopped out February 26th. And so I was basically holding a trade for a very long time. And, basically the way I even got into that trade was just honestly looking at market Cipher, given a green dot on the daily in the middle of a massive uptrend. And so when we are trending like that, I have different strategies that I use to get into more swingy trades with lower leverage, but they're typically not based on a level as much as they are based on momentum. Like the 4-hour, 24-minute strategy that I use. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, or the 1 day 4-hour strategy, where basically, like, if market Cipher looks super bullish and we are trending like that, I can get into some nice trades. But when it comes to how do I know when to let them ride? I mean, my style is always I always let my trades ride. Like even now, I'm in a little long from 21,752. It's like I've already taken out half the position and locked in a decent profit. And now it's like I'm just gonna let that thing ride. Like, what if we get a bigger retracement to the upside right now, and what if we come back up to test some of those levels that I'm looking at? Like, what if we come to retest 25? And what if this was the exact bottom, and then you never know. So I'm always keeping a portion of my position open. And I can't speak for everybody in my community at all, because a lot of people have different trading styles and all that kind of stuff, but that's kind of how I deal with it. I know I've been holding a short from 47.8, and I still have 25% of the position open, and I haven't even logged into that account now in weeks. I haven't logged into the account in weeks. I don't care.
Yeah.
I have limit take profits set at super low levels. Like I'm pretty sure actually one of them just recently got hit at 23K, and then I don't have other take profits until 17K, because it's like I've already made money on it. Why the heck not just go for the gold?
Boom.
That's very Mango, dude. That's exactly what we pretty much do. But we just use levels that are pre-drawn for us on the now we do find our own horizontals and support and resistance. Especially Krisha, she's really good at that. But we use it in confluence with indicators that will keep our objectivity in check, right? We want to be objective and find the direction of the trend.
Right.
So what do you think? As in, what do you guys think? Do you think that this is the time we start looking for a potential reversal in the markets? What is the drawdown this time? this time around, I mean, we've seen.
What is the audience think? Does the audience think that we are bottoming here or we're dumping more? I think you already asked, right, Jason? What's the result?
Yeah,
Of the poll?
let's check out the poll here. So most people think that we are going to dump more. 69% say more dump, and 31% say pump. So
What does that tell you?
yeah,
Is our audience correct?
I mean, I think
Usually
we're gonna
I
dump
counter
more.
trade my I counter
You
trade
think
my
we're gonna
emotions.
dump more?
I do think we're going to dump more. I think we're going to get a little retracement and dump more. And the only reason I think that is because it just
I
seems
think so.
it just seems to, I don't know, like really the bottom was like 20,000, 7,800. Like that just seems so random
easy.
to me. Yeah, yeah, like a little too easy.
I think we have 5 days. Okay, this is another thing to keep in mind when trading the high time frames, right? Like the high time frame weekly 200 moving average is pointing at around 22,000 at the moment, right? So what a lot of traders will think is, especially if you're new to trading the high time frames, you're going to think that, oh, the weekly 200 is right here. I'm going to go 50x leverage for all in on that position. But the thing is, we have 5 days and 11 hours before this candle closes. We could wick down to Krisha's level at 18,000, liquidate the people who got overzealous, and then close above the weekly 200. So you know what? Everyone ends up being right, where price does dump down further. Price actually does defend a higher time frame level, and people still get liquidated out of their positions. Right?
Right.
We could be right and lose money. That's the worst as a trader, right?
Yeah.
That's the worst. Being right and losing money. I'd rather be wrong and make money all the time.
One of your audience members says, his name is Ken. Ken says, when the mass think one way, Bitcoin does the opposite, and I completely agree with that. It's like the most unexpected thing that people, the most unexpected thing would happen on the chart. I'm not sure if you were here during that last sort of bear market, Jason, because I remember this region right here when Bitcoin was sitting at 3K. Were you here when Bitcoin was sitting at 3K?
Was I here? What do you mean?
Were you in the markets? As like, were you trading the markets back then?
Are you talking about
Were you trading
the Rona dump
Bitcoin?
or at the end of 2018?
2018.
I was not actively trading, not the way I do now, but I was holding Bitcoin, and I was buying Bitcoin after that dump.
That's awesome. So what happened here was I still remember this so vividly, right? People were calling for like they were getting people from CNBC, the traditional space, and those guys, those analysts were calling for $1,900 per Bitcoin. Then suddenly the new narrative in terms of price action became $2,400 per Bitcoin. So there were a lot of like these lower levels that were coming to play, and everyone was expecting that dump. Okay, it's gonna dump. Everyone's waiting for 2,400, 1,900. Waiting. We actually know people who sold a freaking wick of that bear market right there, and only for Bitcoin to just sort of inch up ever so slightly. Still, people were sort of left there getting bored with the volatility because the volatility pretty much diminished to nothing on the chart, and then suddenly we got like that 20% candle to the upside that got people like, holy shit, what happened?
Yeah.
Right?
That was a special morning.
What I personally am going to be looking for in this region, if we do see, so I am actually gearing up for, I think that we're soon approaching of course, this is my personal opinion, but I think we're soon approaching the position part of this market. Like, start thinking about your positions and where you want to be positioning, not just in Bitcoin, but even some of the other assets that you are perhaps looking at, because many of the assets have taken at least an 80% dump. Bitcoin is down some 60 something percent from the highs. But I'm looking, that's what I'm sort of focusing on right now, is where to position next in terms of just general market conditions. I think we're close to a bottom very, very soon. It's just about really putting in those formations that will give us the tip in that, okay, we're consolidating here. Perhaps if we're building a trend, look for the next sort of, look for the next market cycle.
Right. I mean,
what are your thoughts on this?
I definitely think that the markets in general will just look to wreck the most people because, I mean, it's just like psychology and reverse psychology. And, I mean, I think that we're coming to a bottom soon, but I definitely don't think we're going to get like a V-shaped recovery. I think we'll probably end up, ranging in the nether world for quite some time before we start to pump again. And but I definitely think a bottom is near. I just think it's going to catch people off guard. I don't think it's going to be something that that everyone's expecting. At least not on at least not on the lower term time frames. Like what Sean was saying, like you could be right and also wrong. Where like, in hindsight, you caught the bottom on a high time frame, but then like you entered a position and ended up losing money because of something else. So
yeah.
So John Lux in the comments mentioned something interesting, that we have 2 years until the next halving, and it's interesting, John, because I've actually been contemplating a new idea. We always try to think like months and months in advance. I really like how you're thinking, man, because I have a chart that I started showing Mango just recently, like this earlier this week. I'm gonna quickly switch to my chart, Trisha.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've kind of like, what I've done here is I've marked out each halving, Jason, and essentially, if you guys use like just use the monthly time frame, and you guys can use the 46 and the 63 EMAs, which is essentially the 200 moving average on the weekly scale down, and the 63 is just like just don't worry about how I got the 63 number, but let's go ahead and pull up the. I'm looking for the 46, and let's put on the 63, and we turn off everything else. Right. So historically, right, we have kind of held these levels on the monthly time frame, oscillated around them, and then what we've noticed, and this was again Krisha's backtesting, is that markets tend to rally into the halving and then dump without taking out Bitcoin's high. Okay, so the rally into the halving does not reach Bitcoin's high. So we are trying to like kind of use that as a guide. Remember, markets rhyme. Okay, they do not have to repeat the same way. We have to take the current context into consideration. We are really unprecedented times, and what the Fed is doing at the moment, it's really interesting. So, but with that in mind, right, I think that we put in like a monthly consolidation over here, holding these levels, and we could rally, but I wouldn't get too excited until we first take out 38K. That's like the key level. If we do not take out 38K, well, we are literally stuck between 38K and 22K for months. But if we do take out 30K, I still don't think we get past like 50K, 57K until we see a dump into the halving coming all the way April 24th. So now with this kind of guide in mind, right, we will shape our trades with our shorts and our longs, and how we even position in altcoins, right, using key levels, etc., etc.
Yeah. Jason, is there ever a time where, I mean, as scalpers, I'm always sort of intrigued by this. Is there ever a position where you have to sort of look at the macro trend? Where do you get any edge by looking at the macro trend as a scalper?
Yeah, absolutely. And I should say too, like I'm not really a scalper. Like there's legitimate scalpers who scalp all day, and like I'm more of like scalp for the fun of it if I'm like at the computer. Like I'm typically, I would call myself like a day trader, and even like a swing trader at times, but definitely not in the way you guys do it, but more so like if we're in, like I was saying before, like if we're clearly just pumping and everything's pumping, like I'm gonna long altcoins because there's a triangle breaking out. I'm going to long Bitcoin because there's a green dot on market Cipher. Yeah, if I see that we're like in a macro downtrend like we are right now, I'm going to know, like when I'm entering a trade, let's say from a resistance, I'll say, there's a higher probability that this is actually going to lead to a breakdown of the range and we could come much lower. But I guess I do need to expand my outlook on the markets when it comes to the higher time frames. But yeah, I absolutely do prioritize trends and basically in my overall trading ideas. But in the day to day, I wouldn't say that it provides very much.
I think you're doing it, man, without even realizing it, because you just said something that is so important, and that's really the crux of it all. You intuitively understand that, hey, we're in a macro downtrend, right? And if you're in a macro downtrend, this key level has a higher probability of breaking, because downtrends break support and uptrends break resistance. You know that intuitively. So accordingly, your positioning, your leveraging accordingly, you're reducing your position size, you're doing it. So I think we have a similar style. We just trade it on different time frames, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's something we use to keep our life, because me personally, right, the way we've designed everything is I want to keep all of my decisions as stress free as possible. Like I want to make very few decisions and while I'm thinking about the big picture at all times. So we have like this thing that allows us to essentially at all times keep an eye on what the trend is and what the volatility is. So if you switch on over to the weekly, we have been in a Bitcoin downtrend for 64 days, right? And if you put on the trade right at the short trend over here, returns were like 47% on Bitcoin, 62 on Ethereum. So just staying in that trend direction is what I try to do. I'm like, okay, the trend on the high time from the short, I don't want to fight that trend, because there are probably trades that I want to be on the direction of the trend that will be a lot more lucrative. And Ethereum was something I was really, really eyeing, especially, man, like, like there were these freaking VCs who were really, really shilling the Ethereum merge. I'm just going to show this freaking guy over here, Travis Kling. He put out this chart, Ethereum 2.0 merge. He marked out when the Fed is about to slow down tightening, likely scenario. And I agree with this part here, where the Fed is about to, or rather likely to, slow down tightening. But what I didn't agree with, I found very, very, very shady, was he draws this out and he says, "What is the market telling you?" as if to like tell all the plebs on Twitter, I don't say plebs, people who don't know any better, that hey, the market's going to pump into the event. And he's been shilling his Ethereum bag all over the podcast for a while now, right? And I was like, man, this freaking pattern here is the most distributive pattern I've ever seen. And I actually call him out on that. I'm like, dude, it tells me, the market is telling me that you're being distributed to leading into the merge. Why have so many VCs been shilling the ETH merge, right? And this all happened because I was really frustrated with the Luna episode 2. I was way too quiet on Twitter, way too quiet on YouTube about all these things. I decided to take like a step back on ever like being loud on these things. And I ended up, me not being loud, ended up hurting a few people in my community who got into the Luna trade, got into the anchor position. And I've just made it like a point to like now stop being loud on this shit. And you guys can see BTC broke down hardcore ever since then. And again, Ichimoku levels, guys. Ichimoku levels. Right over here, you can see that we broke into the cloud. And the next test was the bottom of the cloud. 200 exponential moving average lining up at the bottom of the cloud. That's confluence, right? You guys can really just position on the higher time frames and save yourselves a shitload of pain by being in the wrong altcoin, or hey, just being in crypto at all. So for example, where's ETH sitting at right now? Yeah, look at that, guys. We actually bounced off the weekly. Yeah. So my tweet was essentially tap of the cloud is likely. I say that somewhere. Where is that? Yeah, Ethereum tap of the cloud, very, very likely, right? And look at how beautifully we use the higher time frame levels, or rather the markets respect the higher time frame levels. Because what this is telling you is that multiple people are looking at the same levels. People are looking at the 200 exponential moving average, they want to buy that. People are looking at the bottom of the cloud, they want to buy that. And that will likely line up with the lower time frame traders as well, who are looking at the 4 hour, the 1 hour, etc. Yeah. So that ends up being a really good bid. And dude, I didn't take a short here, okay? But what Kush and I did is we emptied out our entire Ethereum accounts from all of our cold wallets, etc., etc. And we are not like big Ethereum whales. We had only around 85 to 95 ETH, but that saves you like, if you sold into USD, guys, that would have saved you 50%. That's like, dude, around $100,000 if you sold into USD. Now I sold into Bitcoin, right? So it saved me around 30% of my Bitcoin, right? But for you guys, that would have been $100,000 to now buy Bitcoin, right? $100,000, that's like 5 Bitcoin over here. And 5 Bitcoin, if we are thinking long term now, 2024, which is what our community is aiming towards, 2024, 2028, that's like life-changing amount of Bitcoin, just that one trade. So this is what we like look for over here at Mango, the big freaking trades that are holistic. Because one, the freaking VCs, there's so much going on. Distributive pattern, head and shoulders, bearish TK cross coming up soon. VCs are shilling their bags like no freaking other. Fed is removing liquidity from the market. Bitcoin losing levels. Bitcoin dominance. A month ago, month ago, I told the Mango community, guys, the Bitcoin dominant saga is about to begin. Get ready for it. So we were psychologically getting ready for the big trade. And that's what people miss, is that trading the higher timeframes is all about psychological preparation.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff, man. Man, trading is so psychological in every possible way, I suppose. But
So are you only trading Bitcoin right now? Or are you in some of the altcoins? Like, do you trade the altcoins, right? I'm guessing that's how you found Mango XRP.
yeah, I trade altcoins. I typically trade them in like the fall and the winter and the springtime and the summertime. I'm primarily trading Bitcoin and Ethereum, but right now I'm accumulating some altcoins, but I'm really just trading Bitcoin because the amount of analysis that goes into the preparation that I do every day. I'm looking at about an hour per asset per day, so it really does, like, the time adds up. So I've got a lot of stuff to do outside during the summer, but I can definitely just trade Bitcoin, and there's plenty of opportunity there. But yeah, I do
Yeah.
trade alts from time to time.
It's because so my question, because I'm actually really intrigued because I like playing the ranges, right? So when you're trading the alts, now some of the altcoins, they have, like, depending on where you're trading them. I mean, sometimes you get stuck with like really low liquidity order books. Like, how do you
Yeah,
as a sort of a range trader, how do you manage that? Like, do you
I
like
I,
do you
I mean
first
I
look for that before you jump into a trade on that particular exchange, or
yeah
how do you manage that?
I'm only trading altcoins that have really high volume. I'm not trading
Okay,
like
that
those
makes
low
sense. Yeah.
cap gems or whatever.
Mm.
Yeah.
Not actively trading them. No, I mean if you can't leverage trade it on ByBit, I'm not trading it, to be honest with you. So, and I've never had an issue with liquidity on ByBit either. I mean, that exchange is really really good as far. I'm pretty sure they have the most volume out of all exchanges that you can margin trade, except for maybe Binance, but I can't use Binance anymore. So, you know,
Jason, there was one of your comments on your YouTube section. I remember someone trying to call you out for using leverage, and you said something pretty profound that a lot of people don't understand. You said leverage allows me to actually risk manage it. Leverage keeps me safe, and I've been trying to explain that idea to new traders where I don't like touching coins unless I can trade at leverage because it allows me to mitigate my counterparty risk on the exchange. So, even
right.
for the Mongolians who are here on the chat, could you explain that idea to them through your perspective? Because I know you look at it differently because you use high leverage, but it's still keeping you safe.
Yeah, so before I actually was trading all the time, I was typically using low leverage, and I was typically trading, just trend trading, primarily Bitcoin and Ethereum, like super low key, low leverage, basically just so I could hold Bitcoin and increase my Bitcoin holdings, right? Because if you
Mm.
have 1x leverage trade open during a massive pump, um, and you have inverse perpetual trade, you're making, let's say Bitcoin pumps like 50%. Well, if you had one Bitcoin in the trade, now you have 1.5 Bitcoin. That's worth 50% more than your one Bitcoin was at the beginning. That was typically the way I was trading. So I am a proponent of low leverage, and I'm a proponent of safer trading, especially if you're not going to be analyzing the levels with such precision. But the reason why I prefer using high leverage now, and I use degen levels of leverage, is because if I know that I am, like, for example, here, let me just, I'll show the current trade that I'm in right now. So right
Yeah.
now, I'm in this long right here. And this long is like literally, look at the level that I longed here, right? I
I don't
literally,
think your chart has switched for the audience, by the way. I think it's still showing my screen for them. Just a
well, there's
FYI.
a delay on the YouTube channel, so it might take
Oh,
a
okay,
while to
okay.
switch over. But like, my
Hey,
idea,
Yeah, now.
my idea of longing this trade here is that I was looking to take a long from this golden pocket right here. And so I already know that if we don't bounce from this golden pocket, the trade idea that I had is already wrong. So I don't need to like waste time wondering, well, should I stay in the trade or not? Like, what if I get wicked out and then it pumps? Like, I already know my whole idea of the trade is that we are going to bounce from this exact level. So I can leverage up a very small portion of my capital, and then I can enter the trade that way. And I can even use a loose stop loss and have playing room for it. And the reason I do this is because I have in the past fallen into the temptation of, if price is coming down to my level, and let's say I long it here with low leverage, and we get a little bounce, and then we come down below it, right? And I will say, well, you know what? I should probably move my stop loss down just a little bit because I think we're still going to get a move to the upside. So then what happens is I start playing the game of moving that stop loss down, and I'll say, well, you know, as long as we don't come below this last low right here, then my trade idea is still valid, right? Because we could still put in that higher low and then bounce. And then the next thing I know, I've taken such a big loss. And so the thing is, like, I don't want to play that game, and using high leverage, you can't play that game, because if you get stopped out of the trade, it's almost like a huge relief for me in a lot of ways, because then it's like, whew, all right, I'm out of the trade. I don't have to worry about it anymore. You know, how many times, I'm sure people watching this video have played that game where you enter a position, it's in the red, and you spend all day nursing that, you know, trade, maybe even adding to it to improve your entry, and then, like, you know, freaking out all day, not closing the trade, not accepting the loss, and then, like, you know, 12 hours later, you end up taking the loss anyway, and you feel like crap, as opposed to just saying, you know what, if I had just 70x leveraged this, I would have been out of the trade with a small loss, move on to the next one, no big deal. Like, so that's why I do it. It's really psychological for me. But it depends on the context. If you're in a bull market and you're like 1x leveraging to increase your Bitcoin holdings that you would have just hodled anyway, then low leverage is definitely the way to go. And it really just all depends on context as well. There are times where I will build into a swing position. Like, there are times where I long zones that are like 5%, and as long as I see like bullish confirmations on like the high time frames, I'll stack limit orders there, and like I'll be like, you know, 15x leverage, and knowing that my liquidation is still at the invalidation point for my idea. So it's really just about knowing where your idea is no longer valid, and then making sure that your leverage fits into that, because, you know, it's just a tool. That's all it is. It's yes, people use it to gamble away all their money, but you don't have to use it that way. It's a super awesome tool that traditional markets, you can't 100x leverage on traditional markets. And I don't even think you can use leverage unless you're already like rolling in the dough anyway. So
yeah, they're going to make you prove that you are a what's the term? Accredited investor. And to be an accredited investor, I think you need to show $100 million in capital. So
I think it's $10 million in capital.
Something.
So I really like Jason. I really like the way you use your liquidation as your invalidation, and you sort of separate that into sub accounts, because we're all about cross leverage, right? When we do put on those big trades, those trend trades. And there's one more thing that you had mentioned. I think this sort of it's pretty stable across the board, irrespective of what kind of trader you are. It's always about having that conviction to put on that trade, to take action on your plan, and it's about having the flexibility to know when you are wrong and to get out. And it's that flexibility part that I feel like a lot of traders have an issue with. They're not able to sort of kind of grasp that until they've felt the pain for some time, right? So it's that flexibility to put your pride aside and say that, okay, you know what, shit, I'm wrong. And I cut my losses here. But I really like how you're using your liquidation point to help you with that flexibility. And I think that's pretty freaking awesome.
yeah, I mean, it definitely prevents like, even, you know, with 70x leverage, it's like you know, you still have like more than a 1% playroom, and so if you're trying to long a very specific level, you don't need that 1% playroom anyway. So yeah, it's just it gives you flexibility to not have to have like a rigid stop loss of like 0.25%. Like, you know, there were times where I would try and use lower leverage and like calculate what my exact stop loss had to be in order to risk what I wanted to risk for the proper risk to reward, and it's like, man, I'm too stupid for that kind of thing anyway. You know? So the high leverage is like, all right, I already know what percentage of the account I'm risking based on the slider in the exchange, right? It will tell you what percent of your account you're putting on the trade. And so I know if I'm 70x leverage with a 50% stop loss, 2% of my account in the trade, if this thing gets stopped out, it's a 1% loss for me. But if it does go the way I want, then I literally have 1.4%. I'm sorry, I have 140% of my total actual capital on the trade. So I'm trading with more money than I have, but I'm risking 1%. It just is so much easier for me to do the calculations. I'm not even kidding, guys. Like a lot of times, like when I'm out there like mulching the potatoes or like cleaning out the manure, I have the laptop in the pickup truck plugged into the cigarette lighter, and if I get an alert, I'm looking at the chart. I don't have time to sit there and like calculate the the risk to reward and all this. I already kind of know in advance what leverage I'm looking to use, how much I'm looking to risk. I kind of know where I want to take profits too. So, that's how I do it.
And what we've done to counter that is we've built a combination of a simple tool sheet, which is just a Google sheet, and a Mango risk management indicator. So the indicator literally tells you, based on this trade and based on your risk factor, just plug in this number, or the indicator is giving you a number to plug into the tool sheet, and that tool sheet literally tells you your position size, etc., where your stop loss is. And I think you and I both have a similar approach, where we understand that the stop loss, in your case, the liquidation, is not your invalidation point. You could be wrong way before the idea hits, or rather way before the stop loss hits, or the stop loss could hit and you could still be right. But the stop loss, and in your case, the liquidation point, exists to protect your account, right? You're protecting your account from an adverse situation, and that's where people get wrecked, because their survivability gets zeroed in one trade. So we always use our stop loss, not because that's where we are wrong. Our stop loss rarely hit because we allow so much wiggle room, right?
Yeah.
We are wrong before our stop loss, right? And that allows us to sometimes even get out in a break even, which is not really ever the case, because very rarely actually you get break even trades, but you're paying fees, etc., right? But your stop loss doesn't hit, man. Stop losses hit when the market, because when you're trend trading, the market should very rarely break out of a volatile zone, or the volatility should very rarely increase in the direction against your trend. Volatility should only go in the direction with your trend, right? If you're long, why would we have a volatile movement towards the downside? Something's wrong. You should be out of that position.
Right.
You are wrong. You are wrong on your read, and you need to protect your account. You don't need to be right. So we use the same thing essentially, but again, lower time frames, higher time frames.
Yeah, exactly. That's it's all about knowing. It's all about knowing when you're wrong, and the hardest part sometimes is being willing to accept that you're wrong. So, yeah, for me, the leverage is I have no choice but to accept it, right? So I have no choice.
I think it's really commendable how you take your laptop with you on your tractor and you're trading while doing what you do. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is.
I tried doing this on a road trip. I tried to manage one of my swing trades, and I lost my mind. I'm like, screw this shit.
Really? Well,
I need a cafe or something. There was no way I could do it. So man, good stuff. Like there are some people in the Mango community who trade on their phones, and I can't even do that. I'm like, no.
I do trade on my phone. I trade primarily on my phone. That's where I'm entering and exiting positions mostly, and also I'm very guilty of trading and driving all the time.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, in fact, here I don't know if you can see this picture of me right now, but this is me in the car. I've got the charts pulled up here on the radio, wow. And I'm just not even looking at the road.
This guy's trading on the radio.
49x leverage too. Oh, I'm just kidding though. This is obviously a fake picture, but I do trade. Like if we have to go somewhere, my wife drives and I trade in the passenger seat, like because why not? I guess I have the ability to tune out other things. I don't know.
I love this guy.
That's awesome.
Dude, I get so paranoid about not being in my comfy. Like I need my environment completely set for me and comfy. I've had scenarios, dude, where I'm trading high leverage and I'm trying to scalp, and my effing mouse dies, and I get really flustered, dude. Like my mouse died, and I took a huge loss because I couldn't freaking get out of my position in time. So there's a section even in our videos where we talk about you got to risk manage against your hardware too, right? You got to have an extra mouse on hand or have another laptop on hand at all times because you don't know what could go wrong. Don't rely on just one way to enter or exit your trade. Because I've taken some heavy losses on because like you guys know now, we don't use a tight stop loss. We don't use a tight liquidation point or anything like that. So when the trade goes against us and we are not really there to like actually manage the position because of some scenario, that could hurt us, right? So now we have like everything set up next to a laptop, next to a computer. In fact, I have like two laptops here. We have two mouses over here, and yeah, I actually have freaking two mouses here, not one wired and one wireless, just so that I don't have to go through that scenario. It also helps with the gaming, right? Like when your mouse dies, you have another mouse on hand, etc.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. It's funny because like I mean, at least for me, it's like once I enter a trade, once I like have the stop loss at the entry and I've set in my take profits, like I don't have to think about it. I literally don't have to think about it anymore. Because I know that I'll either get stopped out break even or those take profits will get hit at predetermined levels. So, I'm also we're developing and it's in beta testing, about to launch now, a bot that will actually trade your plans for you. So like it's basically like you tell the bot what confirmations to look for at what levels, and then the bot will enter for you. It will move your stop loss to entry after TP1 is hit, and like everything's set up beforehand. So like your entire trading plan will be automatically done for you if you tell the bot what to do. And so I actually trade with this thing already a lot, and
Dude,
I've caught the juiciest trades in my sleep and stuff. What's
There
that?
have been people who there have been people in the Mango community who actually asked about whether I could recommend any bots or something to them. So whenever you guys are ready to show this off, you're welcome to actually come onto our channel and actually like showcase it,
Oh, wow.
whether it's in beta. Right?
Yeah,
So,
it's currently still in beta, but we plan to launch it next month.
as long as people are like safe with using these kind of things, I'm pretty sure you're responsible enough to like also give out those warnings to everyone. Hey guys, be safe.
Well,
No positions.
it's for paper trading only. In fact, I don't know if you guys knew this about me either, but I only paper trade. I don't ever risk real money.
No, how? I see you put. Wait. What?
It's because
I think he's trolling.
well, no,
Are you trolling?
no, because why would I want to actually risk anything in life, right? The goal of life is to avoid all risk at all cost, and so I would never like risk anything. But the way I pay the bills is all the paper I make, I actually sell it to a book publishing company, and so they use the paper to print books, and then
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
exactly.
Right.
So the bot is for paper trading only,
and
like.
those book companies are actually secretly selling your trades to Goldman Sachs, etc. Because they want to copy your trades. They're so perfect. So, it all
Exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah, that's
Everyone wins. That's how the economy works.
yes.
Show me.
Yeah, so you guys get it. So the bot is not for real money. Like, if you set it up, and it will advise you to hook it to
No
a
wonder
ByBit
Carl from the
testnet
Moon
account.
sponsors you, dude. This guy's a genius.
Yeah, shout out to Carl.
Yeah, shout out, Carl. Thank you for sponsoring the stream, Carl.
So wait, the bot goes. The bot's not out yet, right? It goes. What you publishing it? Publishing, but you release it next month. You said.
Yeah, that's the official launch. We have a team right now of beta testers that are absolutely killing it with like some really awesome strategies and stuff. But yeah, in July that will be the official launch of it. And it's pretty cool because it's multi-time frame confirmations. You can pretty much use any indicator you want. Right now I'm primarily using like market cipher divergences, and then I'm also using just the levels that I have marked out in the chart. So basically when I come up with my trading plan for the day of like what trades would I take, if there's certain confirmations, I just feed that into the bot, and then the bot will take those trades if those confirmations are there. So it's not like a bot, it's not like a grid bot or an auto trading bot. It's actually like, what would I do if I was sitting there at the computer all day? So it's good for people who like can't be at the computer all day, And we have people right now like trading in their sleep, trading while they drive. I also am trading in my sleep and trading while I drive, just based on.
Yeah, that was one of the big questions I had for you. Like, how the hell do you do it? Like, how do you sleep on these little the smaller time frame range plays? It's beyond me. I'd get so flustered. I wouldn't be able to sleep. But then you told me about schlonging, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, slonging, and then like really, it's just like it's just locking the profit. Like if you have a position open and you're there at the computer for like 15 minutes, enough time to like lock in profit one and move your stop loss at the entry, like who cares what happens next? Like who cares? Like I can go to sleep knowing like if things go wrong, I still close the trade at break even. If things go right, I'm gonna wake up in profit. So there's no reason to like freak out about it,
Yeah, that's awesome. Gotta try the schlonging.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the schlong, they say. Yeah, so it's been a good stream, guys. We've been on for about an hour and a half. Are there any things you guys want to say to the fine ladies and gentlemen out there before we head out? Any words of advice? Let people know where they can find you, and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, again, you guys can find us on YouTube at Mango, Macro, and Crypto. It's basically, I'm just going to quickly type something on the chat so you guys can find our channel easily. Mango, Macro, and Crypto. And on Twitter, my Twitter handle is Sean Dexter. Krisha's Twitter handle is Crash Talks.
Yes.
Right? And you guys can find us there. And yeah, we're active on Discord too. We are more focused on just being like a family-friendly community. We again, our trading style is more geared towards people who are really busy, and you don't really need to be just busy with your life, right? It could be more about you have another hobby. Like I spend like 3 or 4 hours reading every single day, and that gives me a lot more happiness than the grind I used to do trading low time frames. Even though that was very profitable, um, internally I didn't feel as good, right? So it our strategies really work across all time frames, right? You can choose what time frame works for you, the weekly, the monthly, depending on how many times you want to make a decision and how big you want your trades to be. The juicy trades are always on the high time frames. Over here too on ETHUSD, guys, if you guys are looking at my chart, just look at how easily you guys could have gotten to a Ethereum trade as soon as we broke out of this massive monthly W-like structure, right? People like to find patterns on the lower time frames, but it's the high time frame patterns that work out so well. Bull flagged above it, and then Ethereum just went on a tear. Now we're coming to retest the monthly level. Where did we bounce off? The monthly. And you make these decisions a few times, okay? And that's essentially our gist of trading: stress-free, low amount of decisions, but big reward for it.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can, so yeah, the handle is, I mean, you should be able to pull it up on youtube.com/mango research, I believe, is still the tag back. So that is going to be our YouTube channel. And yeah, you can join the community. The mangoway.com/discord will take you to, well, the Mango YouTube, the Mango Discord community.
Nice.
So those are the major handles.
Yeah, guys, everyone go make sure to check out these guys because, like I said, they really provide good content. They really care about their viewers and their community. And they're really good people just from the time I spent talking to them. So, yeah.
And Jason, I'm looking forward to having you back on to our stream sooner than later. We got a lot of good feedback from our community members who resonated with your trading style, especially one of our favorite community members, Mark. He's like, man, that was freaking awesome. I really resonate with his trading style. So it would be really, really nice for you to have to come back onto our show and keep educating the way you are, man. Really, really, really good stuff.
Yeah, it should be a good time. I look forward to it too, and I'm really hoping I can incorporate some of these stress-free things because now that I'm almost 32, I'm trying to avoid that aging process, man.
Dude, you're doing a fantastic job already, man. He doesn't give himself enough credit.
Yeah. But thank you so much for having us, Jason. Like, and even your audience has been freaking amazing today.
Yeah, dude, your audience is awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
You have a really, really freaking nice audience. A lot of the other crypto communities tend to be kind of like, but the audience is like really nice people, really, really good people. I've been keeping an eye on the chat this entire
Yeah.
stream, man. You have some really nice people. You've done such a fantastic job building this channel, dude.
Well,
Really,
you know
really
what?
good stuff.
It's I have to just say that it's been the Lord has had mercy and favor on me in this whole process. So I cannot take credit for it. I cannot. But I appreciate the kind words, and my audience, I would say, also is the best. I really like everyone in the community. And with that being said, guys, God bless everyone.
Yeah.
And I will.
Cheers, man.
All right.
We'll see you in the next one. Peace, y'all.